What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show. The Blazers lose today, 111-97 against the Brooklyn Nets. Eric will be back in a second, but first, this is the Blazers Uprise Postgame show presented by BetOnline. You can use promo code BELIEVE to receive 50% rewards. They are your number one source for all your betting needs all season long. Live betting, parlays, spread picks, all that good stuff. Check out our friends over on BetOnline. Thank you to them for supporting the channel. Eric, what's going on, man? We just did a watch party stream, and it didn't go too well.
Yeah, just frustrated once again with the Blazers know how they have to play in order to win games without Damian Lillard, and outside of parts of the Knicks game, I feel like they just refuse to play that way, which is be locked in on defense.
And they said I'd get lost.
And move the ball on offense. And I felt like the flow of the offense was just terrible in this game. The awareness on defense, just the schemes we were in, everything is bad right now, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. Very frustrating. People look at the score and probably think, oh, it's a bad offensive game more so than it's a bad defensive game. Only give up 111, but this was a very slow-paced game. Let me pull up the box score here. The Nets shoot 53% from the field, 43% from three, and only turn over the ball 7 times.
So how many wide open threes did they miss that probably should have made those numbers a lot worse?
Yeah, Joe Harris had a couple. Seth Curry killed the Blazers tonight. He was 7 for 10 from three. He had 29 points and just got open three after open three. The Blazers just have multiple guys that are bad defensively right now. It's not any one guy, but there are certain guys that are worse than others. And we're going to talk a lot about defense in this because the defense is a problem. The Blazers need Gary Payton II. The Blazers need Damian Lillard. They were able to get some things done without those two, but they were playing their asses off defensively. That is no longer the case. And you have certain players that seem to have regressed in terms of their focus, in terms of their awareness. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to have our full barrage of graphics today. Chris is back today. So we're going to have you covered on all that with player cards and all that good stuff. I assume Chris already started graphics, so I need to check in with him. But yeah, just tough defensive game. And I don't know, man. It's just frustrating because the team was playing their ass off, but now you don't have enough good point of attack defenders, a lot of off-ball mistakes, guys just falling asleep, guys not rotating, poor effort, just all sorts of things that have plagued this team in previous seasons that we thought maybe we were past early in the year, and that's not the case. So hopefully we get Gary Payton II soon because I think he can change some of that. But then also, offensively, it's a problem right now because you don't have Damian Lillard and you don't have enough guys that you can trust to create their own shots. And there was some cutting throughout this game. Trent Watford cut well. Winslow finally woke up and cut well, and he actually had a decent shooting night. He was 5 for 10, 2 for 4 from 3, with 6 assists, 3 turnovers, made both his free throws. Like, that's a super efficient game for Justice Winslow, because he's normally far worse than that. Grant, 11 for 24, Nurkic, 6 for 12, Ant was 4 for 10 from 3, that's good, but did not have a single shot inside the arc. I thought the interior defense was good from Brooklyn. But with the bench lineup, you have 4 guys coming off the bench right now that cannot create their own shot, and it's plagued this team, and it's been a problem. That's Eubanks, Wofford, Nas, and Sharpe right now. So Blazers need Dame back. They might need another bench scorer long term, and both of those problems were in their head today.
Yeah, it's like we have Justice in the starting lineup. We use them at point guard at times, but there was hardly any off-ball action for Ant to get going in this one. He almost had to exclusively do it in ISO and pick-and-roll situations. And then we tried posting up Nurkic and Grant, but there's a big difference between running a play where someone gets low positioning and letting a player get pushed out to like 15, 20 feet away from the basket, and then throwing it to them, and then having them have to back their guy all the way down into the paint and score while the other 4 players watch. And there's just way too much of that happening on this team right now to have a good offense. I don't think you can have a good offense playing that way. So Chauncey's definitely got to figure something out to get the flow better on offense and have more movement, both for the person with the ball, getting the ball in better spots, and also just the players off the ball, not ball watching as much. And then when they do cut, not both cutting to the same spot to create a situation where one guy can guard two cutters and things like that. But yeah, it's offense is frustrating because we have lineups in there with absolutely no scoring, no shooting, especially since Sharpe struggled recently. So like we had lineups in there where he was like primarily the only shooter, but that even he can hit a shot right now. So, I mean, how do we expect those lineups to score? I don't understand what we're doing, not staggering Ant and Grant more in this game to where one of them is on the floor at all times. Just a multitude of things wrong with the offense. And then the defense is just, it's maddening to watch a guy like KD pick you apart to where it seems like he has a mismatch every play, and it's because we're in certain defensive coverages that just play right into that, and it's ridiculous. I don't know.
Yep, zone didn't work today. They attacked the middle part of the zone really, really well. As I said before, that's where the weakness was, and that's where Kevin Durant lives. Kevin Durant loves that, like, 15-foot jumper, so that didn't work. Also, a big problem with the zone today was just guys just... I can't even analyze it, Eric, because this guy's just not doing what they're supposed to do. It's guys, like, making super silly mistakes. Like, both guys guarding the ball, or one guy leaving his area of the zone. There was a three there in the, I think it was the second half. I always do this. This is, like, annual at this point. First half, second half, I don't remember. There's a three, a corner three, where Winslow was the guy at the bottom of the zone, and he vacated the corner and went all the way under the rim, even though Nurkic was standing there, and it gave up a pretty open corner three. Just stuff like that is what plagues this team right now, and it's just mental stuff. We've talked about it the last few post-game shows. The defense hasn't been good because of effort, but because of mental mistakes as well. And when you play a zone defense, you have to be mentally sharp. You don't have to cover as much ground, right? You don't have to chase somebody across the court. You're guarding a zone, but you have to be mentally sharper. It's harder. It's easy to just follow somebody around and then maybe get through a screen, right? It's harder to play a zone defense where you have to know how to rotate in and out of your area, and then also knowing how to avoid defensive 3 seconds if you're the middle guy. Like, there's a lot of things in the zone where you have to be mentally sharp. This team has not been mentally sharp. The zone hasn't been as good for it. And then just a lot of stupid defensive possessions. Sharpe was terrible defensively tonight. He was horrible defensively tonight. This was a game until he had back-to-back terrible defensive possessions against Seth Curry. Seth Curry had a driving wide-open layup and then got a wide-open three. And that basically sparked the run that put the nail in the coffin for Portland. He's going to be hard to keep on the court if he's playing defense this bad, because honestly, he's probably been our worst defensive player the last, 6-7 games.
I don't like his body language on the court at all either. He's just so casual about it. And I know it's good when he's playing well that he's not getting too high or too low, but it seems more like he's in a funk and he's acting like he's in a funk, you know?
I don't like the body language in general. And also something I don't like, Eric, is Royce O'Neal, right, has that final bucket with 2 seconds left. They're up 12 and he shoots a layup with 2 seconds left, right? Unwritten rule, and some people don't care for unwritten rules, but still, if the Blazers do that, another team is annoyed. They're mad, right? They have some sort of pride.
Like we have the Greg Brown dunk earlier in the year.
And Chauncey got mad at Greg Brown, right? The team was like, no, you don't do that. But then we have it done to us, and Jeremy Grant walks up to Royce O'Neal and is just smiling with him. Dame's smiling, chopping it up with Kyrie. It's like we weren't bothered that not only we just lost, but also we got punked at the end there, and guys don't have an issue with it. And if we were playing hard, Eric, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But given the fact that defensively we look like we're taking no freaking pride in our defense, and then that happens and it's just like, yeah, whatever. That type of stuff is worrisome to me, because it doesn't seem like this team really cares that much that they're losing games. It's just like, oh, whatever. That's kind of the attitude right now. Or else they'd be busting their ass on defense. The defense is lazy. The defense is bad. There's seemingly no accountability in terms of guys getting subbed out for making bad defensive mistakes. When the defense is this bad and we need shooting out there, I would expect maybe Jabari Walker to get a chance. Because it's like, you got guys out there that are just not getting it done on either end of the floor. Give the rookie a chance. We know he has some defensive potential and we know he can knock down threes. But no, we're going to keep rolling these guys out there even though they're not getting the job done, even though they're not taking any pride. You know who would take pride? The dude who's barely played all year, who's a rookie. Right? Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, our other rookie has played enough where I think at this point, he doesn't, I don't know, like he was busting his ass to start the year, Sharpe was. Now his body language is terrible. You got to teach him. You got to teach him. Play Jabari instead of him. Like, this is not a situation where we're a rehabilitating team where it's like, okay, Sharpe, that's fine. You're still going to get 30 minutes and you know, can still do what you want. No, we're trying to win basketball games, right? So I don't like the feeling I'm getting from this team right now because it's similar to the feeling we got from the team to start last year when we would play on the road and guys would just not care or seemingly not care. It was like we had this chip on our shoulder to start the season where we were going to go out and prove everyone wrong. And it's almost like, oh, well, we proved everyone wrong. We started 10-4. Okay, cool. We did it. I have some pride. That's what I want to see from this team, and it's frustrating that I'm not.
Yep. Andy Merchant says, I wonder if Sharpe is sulking because he's not getting the same amount of field goal attempts. I mean, why would that be the case? It's his own fault. He's not getting shots. He's just standing there, and he's not making the ones he's getting. Like, if that's the case, then I don't think he should be playing at all if he's sulking because of something like that.
Absolutely. He needs to work on his ball handling. He would be able to get more shots if his ball handling wasn't so bad. But he's maybe the worst ball handler on the team outside of Greg Brown, but that dude's in the G League. Like, he can't handle the ball. There's a play on this road trip. I don't remember exactly which game, but there's a play where he's dribbling the ball up the court and he almost loses it when he wasn't even pressured. Nobody was around him. Like, okay, work on your ball handling and you'll be able to get off more shots off the dribble. Instead, it's like he dribbles to a spot, doesn't have the ball handling to really turn the corner or like set up his defender. So he elects to shoot a turnaround fadeaway where he jumps backwards like 10 feet and airballs it by 5 feet. Right? Like, getting off shots is a skill. People criticize, Ant for having a bad shooting night and shooting as much as he does, and people say, oh, well, look at this player. He was 5 for 9. He should have shot more shots. But Ant and Dame are good at getting shots off. The guy who's 5 for 9, probably, whoever it might be, Nas, Justice, whoever, they're not as good at getting off shots. And if they tried to shoot 20 times, they would shoot some terrible looks because they don't have that skill set. That's something Sharpe needs to work on. So if he's sulking because he's not getting shot opportunities, then that's a red flag.
And to be clear, I mean, this has nothing to do with his long-term potential. I mean, this is stuff that can be fixed. Hopefully, our coaching staff that has seemed to be what they're best at so far is developmental with the young guys. So hopefully that is the case. I'm not saying anything about Sharpe. Like 2 or 3 years from now, this means he can't ever be good, and we wasted a pick, like Beerus says in chat. Like, that's not the case. It's just he's just not ready to play if he is that bothered by it. And I don't even know if that's the case. It does seem like something is wrong with him mentally, where he's just completely lost all focus and determination on the court. So something's got to change there. And
he was a long-term pick.
Yeah. But that's the problem when you see success right away. People just expect, because, I mean, just a week ago, we had people saying he should be starting and playing 30 minutes a game and he's going to average 20, and so I think people got a little ahead of themselves because he did show so many flashes early on. And we have to realize that we just have to be patient with the kid. And, yeah. But unfortunately right now, it's hard to send a message when you don't have many players. I don't understand why Jabari Walker can't get a shot in that situation. But overall, with Sharpe, it's just a case where we're so injured right now. He has to be given a shot, I guess. And he's just not not performing right now, but I'm not worried about it past like this season or anything like that.
Yep, it sucks. But I mean that's kind of this team in general, Eric, is they raised the expectations of everyone, so now the struggles hurt even worse because we've seen this team get the job done to start the year and beat some good teams, but yeah, I mean they're not doing it. Just looks night and day different. It looks night and day different. Like, guys got to keep having pride. It's like we had pride to start the year, and now it's like our pride is gone. And I don't know if it's because we played so many road games, and it just kind of wears on you constantly playing opponent stadiums, you know, with the crowd on their side, and it's hard to maintain that level of energy. But, I mean, we started struggling at home, so I don't think that's the case. Got to have some pride and some competitiveness. Like, Josh Hart, once again, today, I thought he was solid defensively. And that's because he has a certain level of pride and competitiveness that won't let him do some of the things that some of these other guys on the team are doing. He's a dog. Hopefully, you know, Gary Payton II's the same way. I think he is, you know. I don't think it's a situation where, oh, he's going to come back and he got paid so he's not going to play as hard. But you need guys like that. And I was hoping Winslow was a guy like that. He's been rough defensively. He had a good game today offensively, like a really good game by his standard. Defensively, he's just not been getting the job done. Grant, defensively, not been getting the job done, but also keeps getting put on guards. Today, he was put on Kyrie. Cool. Instead of KD. And that was when we manned up, which we didn't man up much. It was a ton of zone today. But Nas isn't really getting the job done. Sharpe isn't getting the job done. Watford has been bleh defensively. Eubanks, I thought today was bad defensively. Simons today, I thought was bad defensively. I mean, you're talking about everyone except for Hart and Nurkic was bad defensively today, or has been bad defensively in the past 4 or 5 games.
Yep. And his defense, I mean, especially in the first half, what is he supposed to do when he keeps getting matched up 10 feet away from the basket with KD? It's like, that's easy money for KD.
Yeah, well, it's the coaching, and it's 7 of the 9 players that played today.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, I wish we had Keon Johnson.
Well,
that's how bad our defense has been. I would be playing Keon Johnson as, like, the 8th man right now.
Well, what's weird is, I mean, we know last few games, especially how bad our bench has been. And I mean, a lot of that's due to injury, but I think it got saved earlier in the season because Sharpe was shooting. There was a stretch where he was shooting like 70% from the field and 50% from 3. And so like he'd come in and have 10 points and we might be playing like crap, but like Sharpe scored, like got on a heater and just scored a bunch of points, and then all of a sudden we're right back in the game, and then the starters settled down or whatever and played harder once we had, you know, a chance to win in the second half. So I think we got I think that has a little bit to do with it. It was just like we probably won a few games that we might not have won because Sharpe came in and played so well off the bench, and now that we're not getting that same thing from him, we just have no one who is capable of scoring in bursts like that outside of our top 3 guys. So it's just kind of tough.
Yep, there's a problem. Let's look at the team stats. Yeah, as I said, the shooting numbers aren't great. I mean, our shooting numbers were okay, I guess, but not good. Not good. And 15 for 22 from the free throw line also is not good. Gotta hit more free throws. Multiple guys missed a free throw today. But yeah, I mean, we're not forcing turnovers, and we're letting them shoot the ball well. Like, our aggressive defense is non-existent. We're not aggressive. It's a zone, and it's just letting guys shoot, letting guys get to their spots, not bodying up on the perimeter.
Didn't force any turnovers.
Yeah, didn't force. This team got to get out and run, especially the bench unit. When you don't have shot creators, you got to get out and run. But in order to get out and run, you got to force some turnovers. Or you got to force some misses. It's really hard to run the court if you're taking the ball out of the net every time. So that's a problem. That's why I would like to see Keon. But that's the thing. It's like, oh, this year, okay, Sharpe with his wingspan, maybe he can force some turnovers. And Nas, you know, he can force some turnovers. And, you know, We were talking about Gary Payton II, him playing like he's one of the best in the league at forcing turnovers. Well, he hasn't played, and the other two guys haven't played passing lanes, haven't done anything to force turnovers. Like we're just soft. So you look at our fast break points, 6 fast break points. Well, a night where we're not shooting the best, we can't get out on the break at all. 6. That's terrible.
Yep. Not any kind of urgency though. Like that's, I mean, I know people are tired and it's long, the last game of a road trip after just coming back from a 6-game road trip a week ago. Yes, it's tough, but yeah, they're not running at all, and it's frustrating because they're not getting any advantages in the half court. The half court sets are just complete garbage right now, and we're not even pushing the ball up at all. It just makes no sense.
How much of this do you think could be collective fatigue? Because they are in a stretch where they play 16 games in 29 days from November 2nd to November 30th, right? It's November 27th.
That could definitely be a part of it, especially with the minutes some of the starters have been playing.
Yeah.
And, you know, the short rotation too. I think we only played 8 guys again tonight. Those are all definitely factors. It looks like they're playing tired, so that could definitely be the case. But I think that's the problem with this kind of defense, though, is the zone defense is a super lazy. It feeds into being lazy. And it feeds into, if you're tired, you can slack off on defense, right? Because you're just guarding an area. You're not having to guard, be up in someone's face and make sure your man doesn't score or whatever. Yeah. So I think Chauncey's making a huge mistake. I've said this before on previous post-game shows, so it's not like a hindsight thing. I just feel like coming out at the beginning of games in zone like we did tonight, when you're tired, you've had effort problems on defense for like 7 or 8 games now. And then on top of that, you're playing against a team that just is eating up the zone. KD can score whenever he wants against a zone defense. And they were moving the ball well enough to get him into his spots. Just all those factors just make how our defensive game plans have been. And then you see if they're tired, whether it's tired or lack of effort or both. Just that combination at the beginning of games is just killing us, I believe. I feel like if we came out with more of an aggressive defense where we're trapping players, getting the ball out of KD's hands or getting up and pressuring near half court instead of letting them walk down inside the 3-point line before we even pick anyone up, that kind of stuff has an effect. And then you get off to a bad start or someone gets going that hasn't been going. In the previous game, it was Joe Harris who got going early against us. This game, it was mostly KD, but later in the game, when Seth Curry came in, he hasn't really done much this season yet. And I know he missed a bunch of games at the beginning of the year, but we just let teams just dictate the pace and the flow and the energy of the game. And that's the exact opposite of what Chauncey's whole mindset as a coach, at least what he talks about, has been. And that's dictating the flow of the game, bringing the attitude towards them, bringing the fight to them, and not letting them just like punk you around. I feel like we're just the zone defense just makes it so we're starting off games in a lull and not really aggressive, and that is feeding onto both ends of the court.
Yep. So I don't know what the solution is, but I think it will be nice to get some rest after November 30th. The Blazers have 2 days off, then they play a back-to-back, then they have 3 days off, right? So that's 2 games in 7 days. That's 2 games in a week. So get some rest. By then, hopefully Dame is back, and hopefully you're at 500. Because it's not going to... I talked about how the month of November is hard. It's not like December starts off super easy. You have Utah and Indiana, which both those teams going into the season, this is part of like, where I tried predicting strength of schedule. And to start the season, we thought Utah and Indiana were going to suck. Like, we thought they were going to be two of the worst teams in the league. Both those teams are above 500. Both those teams are solid. So, what might have been easy games, or thought of to be easy games to start the year, those games aren't going to be super easy. The Blazers come home and play the Clippers on Tuesday. That's maybe an easy game, depending on who's out. That's games on TNT, by the way.
It's already been announced that Kennard and Paul George are out for that game. So
yeah, we'll see if Kawhi plays. But, you got to come home and get a win against the Clippers, right? And then you play the Lakers on November 30th. That's two winnable games. The Lakers are playing a little bit better now, but still. I
think they're 7-6 over the last 13 games.
Yeah, you got to split those games. If that's the case, you're 12-10. You're above 500 coming out in November, which I would have said that's good to start the season. That's really good, given the schedule. Then you got a couple days off. You got Utah, then Indiana, then you got 3 days off, right? So the goal, bare minimum, should be to be 500 after that stretch. Maybe you get Dame back on December 8th. I listed that as a target date. Maybe he comes back sooner, but he's probably not going to play both games of the back-to-back, and then you have 3 days of rest after that. That's why I said just wait until the 8th. And then you got home games, right? So it's the Clippers at home, Lakers on the road, Jazz on the road. Then you got a 5-game homestand. The 4th, you got 3 days off. Then the 8th, 10th, 12th, 14th against the Nuggets, Timberwolves twice in a row, and the Spurs. If you're healthy and rested, maybe Gary Payton II comes back at some point in that homestand. Okay, then you're looking solid. You got a big road trip after that. Mavericks, Rockets, Thunder twice in a row, Nuggets. There's some winnable games on that road trip. That's where hopefully they can make some hay, but you will have some stretches with a little bit more rest. So I'm hoping, Eric, that this is mostly collective fatigue, especially for a guy like Sharpe. He's never played a rigorous season. He's played high school and like under 17 World Cup or something like that. But he didn't play through a whole college season, let alone the rigors of an NBA season where you're playing at this level and this many games in this short of time. So the most optimistic thing that I can come up with right now is that this team is collectively tired, mentally, physically. The injuries don't help, and that in the future, when they get more rest and you get Dame back to help out the offense and maybe GP2 back to, be that defensive guy, you could be looking at a team playing more like they did to start the season.
Yep. Hope that's the case. Man, just looks so rough out there. Yeah. But yeah, that's the most frustrating part to me, though, because it does seem like it is just like a mental type thing, and it's I don't like to see it, and that's why I don't understand why you're not giving someone like Jabari Walker some minutes to like maybe just have someone that hasn't played much this year come in and give you a boost if your main guys aren't feeling it, and especially with how many times Chauncey has seemingly been mad at someone for blowing a defensive coverage or not getting back on defense quick enough or not getting out on a shooter or not closing out right. Like all those things would lead you to believe that he should turn to someone that maybe could provide a spark or at least go out there and play hard. And so if that's the case, like what you're saying, I don't understand not giving one of the younger guys a shot to maybe prove that they deserve minutes over some of the players that are playing ahead of them.
Yep, absolutely agree. And at least don't end up playing your starters 40 minutes. But, the bench looked bad today. I think it's going to be a situation where you need to get another, at least shooter, if not a guy that can create their own shot off the bench. But the problem is like, can you afford for that guy to not be a good defensive player? I don't think you can. Do you want that guy to be at a wing spot? Probably not. If you get Gary Payton II back and then you got Nas and Sharpe, like that probably needs to be a forward. Forwards that are just 3-and-D at a high level are hard to get, let alone guys that can do something off the dribble. So who is that target? It's going to be hard to fill that specific need, but I think it's obvious in a game like this where, dude, not only is the defense terrible, but that bench unit is just hopeless. Hopeless. That's why Dame, even if Dame's shooting bad, he still helps the team. He could go 0 for 15. I still feel like he helps the team because you can stagger Ant and you can play Ant with the bench lineup. Also, Ant will get better three-point looks playing next to Dame no matter what. Also, Ant won't have the best defensive player on him. And Dame draws a lot of attention and can spark a lot of good ball movement just by attacking, drawing a second defender, and kicking the ball. Right? So, obviously Dame going 0 for 15 isn't a good thing, but having a player of that caliber makes it easier on everyone else. It makes it easier to sort out lineups where you can play a scorer with the bench lineup that's in the starting lineup in terms of Anthony Simons. Because right now it's like Anthony Simons is that starting point guard. How do you stagger him with the bench? You basically have to keep one of Ant or Grant on the court at all times, but like Grant had a great first half and kept us in the game. In the second half, he didn't. He's going up against Ben Simmons in isolation. That's hard. Even for the best scorers in the league, that's hard. So I don't know if there's a way to work around it with the roster as it's constructed, Eric, but right now it's a problem.
Hey, check Discord real quick.
Sure.
Let me read off some donations. Carter,
I gotta fix that title. Yeah, you're right.
Carter was the first one. Super frustrating game, screaming at my TV all game. Agree. Yeah, it's frustrating watching them just lollygagging out there. And then Hyper Prime, $2 donation. Chauncey interview tonight, please. And then Oscar, 6-month member message, or member for 10-month member message. 11-9 after 20. I'll take it, but we could be 14-6, 13-7.
Yeah, I mean, I don't record-wise, 11-9. That's mid, right? But every Western Conference team is kind of in this pack right now. It's not really as much about the record for me right now. It's just about trying to find consistency in terms of the style of play. Obviously, you want to win games and get as high of a seed as possible, but there's more to it than just we're 11-9. I mean, we're still in 6th place. We're 2.5 games out first. We're 1.5 games out second, and we play Denver early in December, and Denver's the team in second right now. So we'll get a win against them. Okay, cool. But that's the thing is you got to be playing better basketball than this in order to pick up wins. So there's a correlation there. I don't know, man. I have to wonder how much of it is this team being exhausted. But then again, it's we've only played 20 games. Utah's played 22. Clippers have played 20. Memphis played 19. It's not like we've played a bunch more games than other teams. I just think how many minutes the starters are playing. The bench can't be relied on offensively right now. The injuries obviously are contributing to both of those, like I explained. I think that coinciding with 16 games in 29 days is a problem for this team right now. And, I don't want to sit here and make excuses, but that's my hope. And that's, because I don't know why else it looks so night and day different.
Yep.
Thank you for the donations. Thank you for being a channel member. Oscar. Let's jump into player cards or your breakdowns. Which one you want to do first?
I don't care.
Let's do your breakdowns first.
Okay. We
got 2 plays. We did a watch party during this stream. You can go back and watch our pain if you want to. But, would have been more fun to talk about that and a win. Anyway, I thought I loaded in. Okay, it's going to be a second, actually, because the cloud is, not updating for me. I have to, go do it manually instead of, the quick way. So, give me a second. You want to thank Adam McVeigh's member message?
Sure. Adam McVeigh, member for 8 months. Thank you for the message. You see other teams resting their starters. I think it's time for coaches to actually rotate the starters in the bench to interject some energy, enthusiasm. Yeah, the problem with that is the injuries have made it so, we only have an 8-man rotation right now. I don't know why it's not 9 with Jabari, but yeah, right now the problem is none of the bench players are playing well enough to say, this guy deserves minutes over the person in front of them, right? Or this guy should be playing over the starter. Yeah, sorry, it was 8 last game, 9 this game. But it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know how you do it with a bunch of injured players. Once we get Gary Payton and Dame back, absolutely, I would love to see that kind of stuff. But right now, it's so tough. Outside of Jabari, who are you going to play more minutes? No one has earned those right now.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. So I don't know what the short-term solution is. Long-term, I mean, this is what I was saying at the start of the season. You figure out what your needs are from a skill set standpoint, and then you try and go trade for players of a specific skill set. This is kind of what we're figuring out right now with the bench. You just don't have anyone you can rely on to create shots. In the future, I think obviously you don't want to overplay these guys, but I think you try and keep two starters on the floor at all times. Because even if Nurkic is with the bench lineup, being able to throw it into him and then play off of him is better for this bench lineup than what we saw today, right? So, Josh Hart can push the pace and can pass and can create. Jeremy Grant and Dame obviously can all score. I think it's a situation where you got to keep two starters on the floor at all times. And it could be a situation where you sub in, Eubanks and Peyton early, and then you sub Nurkic and Ant back in with the bench. And there's your shot creation. And you keep Peyton in the game, and then you have, maybe Sharpe or Nas, whoever's playing better recently, and maybe Justice. But that's the thing with Justice is, like, he had a good game today. He made shots, but, I mean, I don't know if... I think he's not a true shot creator. He can pass, but he's not somebody that's going to create his own shot at a high level consistently. So he's not that type of playmaker. I think the Blazers might need that type of playmaker, or you just have to stagger things so much that you are able to keep enough true playmaking on the floor with starters playing with bench guys.
Mm-hmm. Hyperprime with a $2 donation. Would Sekou Doumbouya be good for us? No, absolutely not.
And you're a guy who liked him.
I do like him for like a rebuilding team still, but he can't shoot at all. Like, he's one of the worst shooters in the NBA. So like, no, that doesn't solve any of our problems.
Yeah, that's not the type of player we need right now, unfortunately. So. You guys can keep tossing names out here. And
also, too, with signing a free agent, it's just not going to happen right now. We're 11-9. They're not going to go be like, oh, let's sign some random player like Doumbouya to frickin' go into the tax that might not even get minutes once we're healthy. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yep. Anyway, let's. I still gotta load these up. Yeah, I have to do this manually. It's multiple steps, unfortunately. I don't know why it's not easy today. Yeah, Zubac having a good game. I saw that Frozen Moon, but that's disgusting. You should definitely get out of here with that trade idea. I'm just seeing if anybody comes up with a good name. Jeremy Lin.
Charles A. Smith. Not this year, you can't. He says Nas can guard the twos. No, he hasn't been doing it this year. He's been terrible defensively. So. Yep,
that's one of the more discouraging things this season. The thought was, he can start, and Hart can be that playmaker off the bench, that scorer, guy that can create, that sort of thing. And Nas can be the 3-and-D guy in the starting lineup that provides athleticism and just plays off guys. Problem is, Nas has not been a defensive player, and Nas, in the past 4 games now, Eric, has not been a three-point shooter. I said, like, the first day he struggled, maybe I was a little bit premature with saying, maybe this is the start of his slump, but he missed the only 3 he took today. Only played 10 minutes, so he's 1 for 10 the last 4 games. I don't know. That could just be 10 shots, right? If he makes 3 more,
9. I think it's 1 for 9, but yes.
Pretty sure it's 1 for 10, but yeah. I don't know. It would be nice for Nas to step up, but we'll talk about him more in a player card because there was a play that it just kind of made me think about him during this game. But let's jump into your breakdowns. Unless you will have something else to say before we do.
Well, Miles Bridges is a big no. I don't think anyone should sign him, especially not Portland. Um,
Yeah.
and we talk about this every time. I just told you guys we're not going to sign some random player like Jake Layman to go into the tax, and then like he's not good enough to warrant being a tax team.
I
Ter-
mean, yeah.
Terrence Ross makes too much money.
Yeah, he's not a good defensive player. Like, that's the type of offensive skill set we might need, but he's not super efficient. It's really hard to find it. That's why I think we have a bunch of troll names. We got Elijah Hughes, Corey Brewer, Jeremy Lin.
And Ray, how are we supposed to get Bull when he's playing insane right now with Orlando? They're not going to just give him to us. Like what? Like why even bring him up? He's not a realistic trade option.
Trevin says Nas is 4 for 18 from 3 his last 9 games. So Trevin the stat man. Anyway, let's jump into breakdowns.
22.5% or something.
Yeah. So he's in a slump and just kind of inconsistent shooting wise. Nas has been and kind of feels like that right now as well. But what do you got?
Janot, no, there's no point in trading Nas. He has no trade value. All right, so here's a possession in the first half where we actually play pretty good defense. We have Winslow on KD. Everyone's set up pretty well here. And KD is going to get a screen from Nicholas Claxton. Nurk's going to hedge. Initially, Winslow gets screened a little too much. I don't like that we're not fighting over these screens more, but he does a good job of getting back. KD is actually going to pass to Claxton in the third slide, thinking he has an advantage in the short roll. Nurk does a good job of getting all the way back in front of him by the time the pass gets to him, and then backs off because he's not really a threat outside of 2 feet away from the basket. And then we see here that the only real bad part of this is Grant is guarding Kyrie, and he's got his head completely turned. So once Cam Thomas is about to start cutting, as you can tell, Ant's kind of out of position here. He should be more like with almost a foot inside the paint right there. But as we go to the next slide, Claxton's going to pass to a cutting Cam Thomas. Ant does a really good job of getting there in time, cutting off his drive, and then Cam Thomas is going to back out, and it's up against the shot clock, so he's going to take a contested long 3. I thought this was one of our best defensive possessions of the night. Unfortunately, just not enough of these.
Nurkic did a really good job recovering in this game, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy when you're guarding Claxton because unless he gets a lob near the basket, he doesn't really have any kind of skill set. But yeah, he did do a good job of getting back in a timely manner.
He's been doing that all season. Like, Nurkic, I don't think is the cause of our defensive issues. Sure, it'd be nice to have a rim protector that was, like, insane and could make up for all the mistakes of other guys, but the other guys shouldn't be making as many mistakes. So that's my whole take on the Nurk situation. I don't think Nurkic is contributing to our struggles whatsoever. And, but this is just, be in the right spot. Ant has to do a better job in positioning his body off ball. Like, I don't know why he's completely facing the ball and his man. Like, normally you want to point in between them, right? Normally you want to, like his right arm should be, like, pointed between the ball and his man. So that he can step in front, or so that he's positioned to run out if it's a kick pass for a 3. But still, good job, Ant. I mean, Ant has good and bad moments. Just not super consistent right now. Let's go to play number 2 of 2.
All right, play number 2. For some reason, we have we talk about how we're set up well at the beginning of plays sometimes. This time, we just have 2 players guarding Kyrie, and we see Nurkic is up top on KD, and Hart's the rim protector, I guess, guarding Ben Simmons, and then we got Ant on Sumner, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, not a bad idea to double team Kyrie here, I guess. But as we go to the next slide, Grant's going to realize that he doesn't need to be out there, and he's going to go back inside, which is good. And then we have a situation where Nurk's guarding KD 35 feet from the basket up on him, and Justice Winslow's guarding Kyrie. And honestly, this is bad, but it's not the worst case, right? Until the next slide, Justice Winslow just decides to go over to KD, even though Nurk's on him, and leave his primary assignment of Kyrie Irving. Like, you're guarding Kyrie, you cannot just leave him to go do some random weak-ass double team that doesn't even get there in time, and that KD can easily pass over the top of you, even if you do get there and pressure him. It's just dumb basketball. It's just a silly mistake here, and it gives it to Kyrie. Now Kyrie has a 4-on-3 advantage, and Ant does a really good job of trying to cut him off here, even though that shouldn't have been his responsibility. So he gets there, forces Kyrie into a tough running shot. But then we're so out of position. Nurk does a good job of trying to get back into it, but we give up an offensive rebound, and Winslow gets a foul on the offensive rebound because we're all out of position. We have our big men up top. Of course, Grant's not going to grab a rebound, so him being down low doesn't help. And so just a horrible defended possession, just silly mistakes, and I have no idea what we're doing in possessions like that.
Yep, I mean, the help normally is supposed to come from off of Kyrie from one pass away with the court spread like this. Like, if you force Durant baseline, right? Or, I mean, even if you force a middle, but I would prefer force Durant baseline. Nurkic, takes away baseline because Winslow comes over and helps. But idealistically, you force Durant baseline, and then you have help come from baseline, and you rotate down. You don't rotate over from the top off of Kyrie. Like, Ant is going to have to run at Kyrie, it's an easy drive for Kyrie if Ant's running at him. Like, it's either an open three or Ant is able to get there fast enough, but in order to get there fast enough, he has to sprint. So it's easy to drive by a guy sprinting at you. So that's not where the help is supposed to be.
If that's Curry, Ant's guarding, that's a cash 3 in this game too,
Yeah, because look,
not quite at the worry, but
you got Simmons setting a screen on Hart.
Yeah.
Like, how does Hart get out there? How do you rotate there? It's screwed. Like, it's just screwed from the get-go when you help off. You just need to match up here. Yeah, you're cross-matched with Nurkic, but it's not like anybody else can stop KD, so screw it. At least you have some size on him, I guess, and if he beats the size, you help over, maybe take a charge or, try and bother the mid-range pull-up or whatever KD's going to do. You don't do that. You absolutely do not do that.
And the people who are blaming Nurk for this play, there are many plays where we just forgot to guard Kyrie or Kevin Durant on plays, so Nurkic realizes that KD's wide open. It's not his responsibility. He should be in the middle right now.
Yeah, they got cross-matched or something.
How is it his fault that two guys go to Kyrie and no one goes to Grant on this play, and we just get caught in a situation where he has to come out on him? But yeah, that's not...
See, but this is what I'm talking about. This is where the people just blame Nurk to blame Nurk, because how in the world can you watch Nurk guard KD, Nurk guard KD, Nurk guard KD, and then try and recover to the rim from nearly half court?
Oh, but Claxton got an offensive rebound on him.
Yeah, he ain't on Claxton. Look how far away he is. Who's guarding Claxton? It's Jeremy Grant. How is Nurkic supposed to get there in time to get that rebound? I wish, we could break down clip or whatnot. But Nurkic, it's Nurkic's fault for not recovering from KD, matching Kyrie's speed, and getting all the way in front of Claxton to rebound. No, that's on Grant. Because what is Grant doing? Grant's the one who's on Claxton, and look. Look at Grant.
He's standing on the opposite side of the court, not even boxing anyone out.
No, it doesn't box him out, doesn't do anything. He just stands there. And Nurkic busts his ass off of KD, who he was guarding this far away from the rim, busts his ass, and almost gets the rebound for Grant. Like, Nurkic is covering for everyone. It's not even his job to guard KD, but he gets back and he's guarding KD. Then Winslow makes a stupid mistake, and then Grant doesn't box out Claxton or do anything to help rebound. And people will sit here and they'll blame Nurk. That's a perfect example of the stuff that I talk about, where people will just sit there and blame Nurkic when Nurkic was Nurkic busted his ass on this possession.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, anyway, but, cool. So, anything else on this play, Eric?
No, just frustrating. See, this is the problem. When we're mixing up zone and man, then they get confused. I'm pretty sure what happened here is Winslow and Grant, or at least one of them, thought we were in zone. The other ones were playing man. And so one of them's on top, even though they're not supposed to be there. When if Jeremy Grant, his sole goal tonight was to shut down Kevin Durant, and every time down the court he had to find him quickly, locate him, and stuff like that, this kind of stuff wouldn't happen, in my opinion. He would 100% be on Kevin Durant here. Nurk would be in his spot guarding Claxton, where we probably get a stop on this play. And it's just, I feel like this is why going in and out of zone and relying on the zone so much is such a problem, because when you're not matched up, and of course you're going to have times down the court where you have to pick up someone, like Nurkic has to pick up KD here, but this happens way too much for it to be just a problem with transition defense or something like that. It's the problem with just this kind of lackadaisical conservative defense that doesn't get aggressive and doesn't require players to play with the mindset that they're going to shut the guy down and they're just going to guard an area instead. It's just dumb.
Yep. Anyway, that is Brains Breakdown. Yeah, just, I don't know. I don't care if he's trolling or not. I'm going to make a point against it because people seriously will blame Nurkic for that type of play. And it's ridiculous. So whether he's trolling or not, especially when we have a perfect example of Nurk busting his ass and everybody else screwed up, yeah, I'm going to make a point with that. Absolutely. Because that's basically our defense right now. Hart's playing solid. He's playing his ass off. Nurkic is playing his ass off. Everybody else is playing dumb defensively, and their effort is trash. That's the state of the team right now. And that's the truth. That's just what it is. Yeah.
I actually, I know we're kind of rushing through this, but maybe we can go through the player cards quickly so we can listen to the Chauncey interview, because I'd be interested in what he thinks of the effort. Hopefully someone asked him about it.
Okay, sure. Player cards. Grant had a great first half. 11 for 24, 5 for 10 from 3. I mean, that's an efficient game. He had 5 assists, too, with only 1 turnover. Grant was really good offensively today, once again. The
first half, at least.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he had 5 assists and only 1 turnover is really good for his, playmaking standard.
I mean, he was 8 for 13 at halftime, so he was 3 for 11 in the second half. Didn't really get many good shot opportunities.
But he's a guy that's really good playing off of others, Mm-hmm. Like, he's been a all-star caliber player offensively, but, like, he could do stuff off the dribble for sure. But where he's really doing his damage is like catch and shoot or attacking closeouts or that sort of thing. So the problem is when he has to play with a bench lineup where nobody else can create and it's stagnant, it's a bunch of one-on-one. And in the second half, it was Ben Simmons guarding him having to go one-on-one against him. Probably not going to be as successful as like the types of shots he got in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's been phenomenal. I mean, he's averaging like what? Over 21 points per game?
Yep.
This is good. We got Yusuf Nurkic, 17 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, a block, 6 for 12 from the field. He was 6 for 10 from 2, 0 for 2 from 3, but he's been shooting the 3 ball really well this year, so I'm okay with that. 5 for 8 from the free throw line, did have 4 turnovers. Claxton was doing a really good job, like poking at the ball when Nurkic posted up. But the problem is in this game, Eric, is when they tried to feed Nurkic in the post, he's like 15, 16, 17 feet away from the rim, and he has to take a bunch of dribbles just to back down and get into position to score.
Yeah, one thing, I don't like that either. I feel like there should be a cross screen where he should seal his guy, almost start sealing him like in the paint, so if he gets pushed out a little bit, he's on the block then instead of way around that. And then the other thing is Nurk's been starting to flash a little bit right around the rim. He's got to be careful not to get an offensive 3-second call, but we've actually been looking for it a little bit more. It's nice to see. So when he catches the ball right in front of the rim, and that can just turn around and go up strong, that's something that I think we should try and exploit more than just straight posting him up, like you said, 15 to 17 feet from the basket.
Yep. Yeah, he's heavier and bigger than everyone Blazers report, but if he's getting the ball 17 feet away from the rim, I don't really know what you expect him to do. He was 6 for 10 from 2. That's good. He's been finishing the ball much better lately, and he's been hitting threes. Yusuf Nurkic, statistically, is having the most efficient year of his career. By a couple percentage points. True shooting percentage, the best way to gauge efficiency, he has a 60% true shooting percentage. That's efficient. He's having an efficient season, scoring almost 15 points per game. Which some people earlier this year said he could never score 15 points per game on this team.
I mean, he does get the efficiency bump because of the three-point shooting, but
we're gonna, people are gonna criticize his finishing, but not give him credit for making threes.
Yep. I mean, 6 of 10 from inside the paint today. It's not. I don't think that's bad at all.
Yep.
Just gotta. I thought he had some great passes in this game. Just he does have to take better care of the ball, but at least one of his turnovers was an offensive foul on a weak flop by Royce O'Neal.
Which was BS.
It's tough because I see all these people in chat. Oh, he's 50 pounds heavier. He needs to use his muscle and size and back people down and score. It's like, well, people flop on that and they call the foul like every time that goes against Nurkic. Like it's tough. Yeah.
He tried, and then when he's not getting good post position because they either suck at entering the ball fast enough and he gets pushed away from the rim, or they're not running a set to get him better low post position. He has to back down from 17 feet. The ball's going to get poked at. Like it's people don't understand. I just feel like people don't understand that it's not all, I forgot the saying, but it's not easy just because you're 7 feet in the NBA. You're going up against other 7-footers that are athletic with 7'5" wingspans. Like people think it should just be, go to rim, catch ball, put ball in rim. It's just that's what they think it should be. It's not that easy. Trust me. So Nurkic has been great lately. When our defense is this bad, I mean, he could have a bad offensive game, but the dude's playing solid defensively, and he's playing hard defensively. I wish we could say the same about the rest of the team because our record would be better right now if that was the case. Some games guys miss shots. Some games guys struggle, making the right reads or whatnot. But the thing you can control the most is the level of effort on the defensive end and your focus on the defensive end. That's been lacking with this team. Hasn't been lacking with Nurkic. Hasn't been lacking with Josh Hart. Everybody else has been lacking. So, Nurkic was good today. 17 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block. He was great yesterday against the Knicks as well. Let's move on and talk about Ant-Man. Eric, what'd you think about Simons?
He really struggled tonight. They paid a lot of attention to him defensively. He couldn't get anything going towards the basket. Took a couple of really bad, unfortunate shots in this game as well. Playing 40 minutes with how much he's asked to do on offense every possession pretty much is just tough. And unfortunately he's going to have games like this where he struggles because of how much energy he's had to expand this season. And I mean, he's not going to always have great games as the lead guard. Sometimes it'll be nice to have Dame back to where he can play off ball a little bit more. But I feel like we didn't really do anything to help him out getting good shots in this game when he was struggling to create on his own in his individual matchups.
Yeah, run him off the ball more, please. Run him off the ball more. Going into this game, he was averaging 23.6 points per game, though. True shooting percentage of 57% going into this one. So he's been really good this year scoring the ball. It's just people have high standards for the shooting, of course, because he's been a phenomenal shooter. Oh, my goodness. Is your mic okay? Is that my mic? What the hell? You good now? You're just buzzing at me, Trevin? That was some Trevin noises. Yeah, that was some weird static. I've never heard that before.
I literally did not touch anything. I don't know.
That was strange. Chat heard it. I don't know. But no, he's been good this year. You know, it's just wish he would shoot the 3-ball better, but he's been shooting 50% from 2, and he's gotten to the free throw line at a higher rate. He's almost, not quite, but his free throw rate last year, 14.6. Free throw rate this year, 20.7. He's averaging, that was one of my goals for him, to get to the free throw line more. He shot 4 in this game, averaging 4 a game. That's better than last year. He averaged only 2 a game. So, Ant's been solid offensively. Tough night tonight. We needed him to step up and make more of an impact offensively. But I would like to see him ran off the ball a little bit more, because it's really hard attacking a set defense. And Brooklyn did a good job defending on the interior, I thought. So props to them.
And Claxton's a good he's good at switching on to guards and just making them take tough shots, and I thought he did a good job tonight on our pick and rolls, and so we didn't really have that action going for us.
Yep, agreed. Shout out to Carter Dick, member for 1 month. First month member message. Thank you, Carter. By the way, if you want to have a monthly member message, we read off all of those. You can become a channel member by clicking the join button below. Cheapest membership is only $2 a month, so it's a good, fun way to support us. Your name is green. It's highlighted in chat. It pops more, and you can leave member messages. Shout out to Carter for one. Says, how did you guys feel about how Ben Simmons played tonight? He didn't score, but I feel like he played impactful minutes, passing, rebounding, and on D. Eric, what'd you think about Benjamin Simmons?
I mean, for a max contract player to not score and to be talking about how he played okay defense and got some rebounds, I don't think that's good. But their team got the win.
He's a good role player.
Yep.
Emphasis on role player. He's not a star. Like he's a good role player, and he's paid like a star.
I mean, if you could ever get back to like all defensive team type defense, and then it's probably fine if he's not scoring at all and having no impact on the offensive end. But they didn't really do anything to utilize his passing or, I don't know. They didn't really do a whole lot in this game. I don't know. I barely noticed him in the second half.
Yeah.
The first half, he was a little more noticeable. He got switched on to guards and did a good job of keeping in front of him, like Claxton did.
Defended well.
But, I don't know how you can think that's, like, worthy of praise or anything. The way he's been playing this year is not outside of a couple of games, or the first game against us, and I think maybe the last game he had it was 7 for 7 or something. But he had 8 assists, but all he has to do is against our zone, throw it at KD who's standing in the middle, and he shoots a turnaround 15-footer. They weren't like playmaking assists; they were just passes within the offense. I felt like, I don't know.
Frozen Moon, stop freaking trolling. You think Ben Simmons is bad, but Nurkic is great? Nurkic had 17 points. Ben Simmons had 2. Okay, let's move on.
Also, Nurkic's contract is half of what?
Yeah, so 17 points on $17 million a year, or 2 points on $34 million a year. Huh. Anyway, Justice Winslow. 14 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 for 10 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. Even Justice Winslow can go 2 for 4 from 3 once in a while. He made some shots. I still don't like the little runners and floaters he shoots from like 6 to 7 feet. I feel like they go in 1 out of every 5 times. But that's the problem without enough shot creation, is you need him to create. And, he did a good job passing the ball. Has good chemistry with like Eubanks on little interior pick and rolls, that sort of thing. He had a good game today on the offensive end. Defensively, still not making enough of an impact. The impact that we expect from him, still not playing with enough energy. What did you think of Justice today?
I thought it was okay. There was some moments in the third quarter especially where he actually started cutting, and I felt like it kind of had our offense moving pretty well. And then he hits another 3 and then just stood on the 3-point line again the rest of the game. But yeah, I thought he played okay. Still a little frustrated with his defense. First play of the game, he's matched up with KD. KD just drives right to his dominant hand, right by him, pulls up, scores. I don't know what it is with Justice that's now dating back to this is 5 games now because it's back to the Utah Jazz game where Justice Winslow just seems to be giving the players he's guarding whatever their dominant hand is driving lane to the basket. I don't understand why he's doing that. It's just really frustrating to me. But
there's a comment in chat that says they like his perimeter defense, but I think his perimeter defense has been bad lately.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it's, he's matched up against Kyrie a lot tonight. Like, I mean, how is he supposed to?
But like, that's supposed to be his role. Is like he's supposed to come in and like make it hard for guys like Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it. He leaves Kyrie wide open. We just broke it down.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, yeah, that's my thing. Like, yeah, it's Kyrie. Nobody's going to completely stop Kyrie for an entire game. Of course not. But you gotta come in, make things harder on guys. And Justice he was better defensively earlier in the year. Like, he's along with the rest of the team, so it's not just him, obviously, but perimeter defense hasn't been a strong suit in the past 5-6 games or so for him, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
We got Josh Hart, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal, 4 for 8 from the field in his 36 minutes. This team just, I don't know, like, I feel like Josh Hart's been the best energy guy in the past 5-6 games. Right, I keep talking about 5-6 games. I guess it should be 7 or 8 because we really started struggling about 8 games ago. But Josh Hart's been busting his ass. 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 for 8 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Had to shoot a couple of shots with the buzzer winding down. Still would like to see him have more of an impact scoring the ball because we saw him last year average 20 a game for us, Eric. And now it's like, oh, he had a decent night scoring at 9 points.
Yeah, we had a play where he had a wide open lay-in and decided to pass out. We missed a 3, and I think that's when Curry hit a 3 on the other end. Needs to be a little more aggressive because he hit that runner at the shot clock that you were talking about. I think that was in the first quarter, and then I think he scored like all but one of his shots. I think came in the first half. So definitely need to find a way to get his scoring up, especially when Dame's out. But yeah, unfortunately, we're just gonna have to take that, I think, with him this season because he's being really passive.
Hot take. Maybe it's a hot take. Maybe it's not. But the Blazers should, until Dame is back, stagger Josh Hart and play him with the bench lineup and make him the number 1 guy with the bench lineup and challenge him to be the scorer that he was last year. And if he fails and is like inefficient, I mean, last year he was efficient in that role, right? But tanking team, but he had the freedom to basically do whatever he wanted. The thing is, he succeeded with that. So try and give him a similar situation, staggered, subbing out early, subbing back in with the bench lineup, and being the guy offensively like he was last year for a stretch. And then see if he can regain that level of confidence or go on a run. Because the offense off the bench is terrible anyway, so what's the downside? He forces some shots and like doesn't get going and the offense sucks? Well, the offense already sucks with the bench unit right now without Ant being able to be staggered with the bench unit because Dame's out. So until Dame's back, stagger Josh Hart with the bench lineup, and at least maybe there's some upside to that where he can find some of the rhythm that he did last year.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I mean, most teams are putting their worst defender on him, so we have to find a way to take advantage of that. We can't let other teams get away with that. So I don't know if he's got like another team's point guard on him, maybe we can play through him in the post, not necessarily to score, but since he likes to pass, that might be something. But he's not really going to blow by anyone in the half court outside of attacking closeouts. So but he does do a really good job of like using his body well on drives to create space and stuff. So yeah, why not use him more of a point guard instead of Justice like we're doing? I don't know.
Yep. Let's move on and talk about Mr. Trent Downing. this graphic. 6 points, 3 rebounds, and assists, 3 for 5 from the field. He had a couple good moments there in the first half, and a couple nice drives. Solid offensive game. What'd you think of him?
Yeah, I mean, he was okay. Just not doing enough to earn more than 15 minutes probably, but I feel like he's probably better than even Winslow or Hart right now at bringing the ball up if we need him to. But, I mean, that lineup when he's in there with Eubanks or Nurkic and Winslow is also on the floor, it's just the spacing just cannot provide enough to get good shots, and I don't understand those lineups, unfortunately.
Yeah. Wish he could be a knockdown 3-point shooter. He would be so nice if he was a knockdown 3-point shooter, but without that, it's tough.
At least with Dredden, he's not like forcing him though. Like he's not. I mean, I don't think he shot one tonight, so like he's at least driving on those instead of like trying to become a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, but like he's a non-shooter. If you play Justice with Trendon with Eubanks or whatever, you got 3 non-shooters on the court.
And then we had a lineup with those 3 and Nas and Sharpe for like 5 minutes in this game, and it's like, what are we doing? Like we had no kind of flow to the offense.
Yeah, that's obviously not good at all. That's bad. And let's move on and talk about Nas. You just brought him up. What'd you think of him?
I mean, I don't think he was good in this game either. Got to the free throw line a couple times, which is nice. Had a nice drive and one earlier in the game. But I mean, let's just be real. There's a reason why he only plays 10 minutes when we desperately needed someone to play defense tonight. So. Yep.
And then we got Drew Eubanks up next, 5 rebounds with his 3 points.
I mean, it's questionable to play, but
yeah, he was rough tonight.
Not a good game from Eubanks.
Nah.
People make fun of Nurk for having 4 turnovers, but I mean, Eubanks had 2 with, I'd say, like a quarter of the ball in his hand, if not less.
And one of them was he had a wide open dunk, and he just lost the ball going up, then tried to punch it like a goalie. So, yeah, that was bad. He was not good. And then, speaking of not good, Shane Sharpe, unfortunately, has been rough.
Yeah, Sharpe needs to find a way to get out of his funk, and we need to do a better job, or Chauncey does, of getting him going with some sort of cut to the basket or a backdoor alley-oop play or something. I feel like if he just got some sort of highlight play, that everything would be fine with him, at least offensively. But if he's not going to make any shots offensively, took a really tough turnaround that he airballed, missed both of his threes. One of them was a step back. One of them was a wide open 3. If he's not hitting his threes, and then defensively, he was just I'm like unplayable on defense this game. So I feel like he thrives on that energy a little bit. So maybe we need to find a way to get him going with just some sort of action towards the basket. But we're not really running any plays for him or anything either. So it's just kind of frustrating the way we're just throwing him out there and just, he's sucking. Let's just continue to let him suck and not try anything differently with him to make it better. Yeah, it's just kind of frustrating.
Yep. Tyler says Sharpe looks pretty dejected. Maybe he's burned out with the NBA schedule. I mean, yeah, maybe I made that point earlier this year. He never had to deal with even a college season. It was just high school and AAU and that sort of thing. So it's 16 games in 29 days and a lot of them on the road. Like, this is his first time dealing with it, and something he has to learn how to like work through, you know, work through and maintain that level of energy. So that's where I'm hopeful that having 2 games in 7 days, and they're a back-to-back too, so it's like 2 days off, then back-to-back, then 3 days off. That's a couple of extended stretches there in December to start the month, which could, be beneficial for this team, I think, especially for, hopefully getting Dame back without having to play too many more games without him. But he was unplayable defensively tonight. He's not cutting as much. Energy just looks bad. Like, maybe it's a situation like Chauncey has to go to him and see where he's at mentally. And, if he's struggling, like, all right, man, you want a game off? Do you want a game off? We can, I understand this is tough for you dealing with, your first time in the NBA, playing this many games in this short time. Like, do you need a game off just to get right mentally? That's where, I'd be willing to give him a game off or two if it helps him get right mentally, because he's struggling right now and he's not really helping the team. And if you show him that you care about him and are willing to do what's best for his, mental state as a basketball player, that could go a long way with him. And if you rest him, play Jabari Walker. Give that dude some minutes. Give that dude some run. Good things has happened the few minutes that he's gotten. So,
well, to be fair though, the shooting thing, he did break his finger and is playing through it. I think he missed one game with the finger at New Orleans, and has played every game since. So maybe that's still bothering him shooting wise, but that doesn't excuse the defense. Didn't he have a great game
shooting the ball after that though?
Yeah, that right after that is when he had that 20 points in 21 minutes.
And that was against this Nets team, huh?
I think so, yeah. And so, but I mean, he has a good game, but maybe it's still bothering him. But yeah, unfortunately, when he's not scoring, the defense is just too bad to warrant giving him minutes at this point.
Yep, agreed. Anyway, that is the player cards. Let's jump into the scores, and then we'll listen to Chauncey's interview, and then we'll wrap up this post-game show. Let me bring down the standings here and put up the scores. There we go. We got the Blazers final against the Nets. The Warriors blow out the Timberwolves, Eric. The Blazers will have a back-to-back against the Timberwolves. They play in back-to-back games in December. Both those games will be at home. But the Warriors are looking better, and they got this win on the road. They were 1-9 on the road, but the Warriors look back to form. Let me pull up the box score here. I had NFL Red Zone on my phone, not even gonna lie. Warriors are now 11-10. Timberwolves fall to 10-10, so Warriors finally found their way back into the play-in. For the Warriors, Steph Curry, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, almost got a triple-dub. Klay Thompson's been playing a little bit better, 21 points, 8 for 13 shooting. Draymond Green was 6 for 7. He had 19 points, 11 assists. Wiggins, 17. Off the bench, Jordan Poole had a good game. He's been struggling this year, 9 for 17. He had 24 points, and then DiVincenzo had 14 points in 18 minutes. The Timberwolves have been struggling, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards, 26.
They're just not a good team right now.
D'Angelo Russell has been struggling, 5 for 14. He has 15. Jalen Wild, 16 off the bench. He's been pretty solid this year, but yeah, Timberwolves are very mediocre.
Yep. They got the Clippers beating the Pacers at home. This is a game that was the Zubac show with 31 points and 29 rebounds. Just a monster game from him without Kawhi, without Paul George, and without Luke Kennard. That's a good win for the Clippers to stay. What are they, half a game better than us now?
Yeah.
In the loss, Jalen Smith had 23 and 9. Miles Turner only played 20 minutes tonight, had 9 points and 5 rebounds, and got destroyed by Zubac. So, yeah.
What's with these mediocre centers destroying our center?
That's box score watching, right?
Yeah. Pirtle, look at what Pirtle did. Well, look at what Zubac did. To Miles Turner. Meanwhile, you got a lot of games going on right now. The Heat are beating the Hawks 85-81 as they enter the fourth quarter there in Atlanta. For Miami, Bam Adebayo has 28 points, 8 rebounds. They're still without Jimmy Butler. Strus has 16 as well for the Hawks. John Collins, 19. Trae Young, 19, 3 for 13. DeJounte Murray, 8 on 3 for 10. That is the most unlikable backcourt in the league. Did you see what they did to Houston? All that taunting and showboating, and then they lose.
They blew the game, yep.
I'd love to see them lose after doing that crap, man. DeJounte has been acting up. Popovich had the clamps put down on that, and now he's out of San Antonio and has just been
Remember all that weird stuff over the summer with Banchero, too? It's like,
I don't like DeJounte, man. And he went to Washington. I'm kind of a Washington fan a little bit, and dude's been annoying.
Atlanta, you mean?
No, he went to University of Washington.
Oh! I thought you meant
no. He went to University of Washington. I'm not a Wizards fan. University of Washington, yeah, and actually, the year after I graduated high school, his high school team was the team that knocked us out. So the year after I graduated, my high school went up and played Rainier Beach, and DeJounte Murray was on that team. I think he was a senior, and there's also another NBA player on that team who was a freshman. Kevin Porter Jr. was on that team as a freshman, so it was kind of interesting watching that tape back, seeing Kevin Porter Jr.'s shot looked the same. Well, obviously, just being a freshman was not, who he is now. So, but anyway, Celtics beat the Celtics are up against the Wizards 51-41.
I think Tatum's sitting that one out.
Got you. And then Pistons are actually up against the Cavs right now, 34-29. They've been playing well without Cade Cunningham, who's going to be out for a while. Grizzlies beating the Knicks in New York City, 35-31. The 76ers are up on the Magic, 45-37. All those games in the second quarter. And then the Mavericks and Bucks will tip off in about an hour. Let me pull up the standings real quick. Let's take a quick look at these standings. Oh, it's going to take me a second. You want to look at the standings after the Chauncey interview?
Sure.
I know it's kind of like interrupting around the NBA, but Chauncey interview should give me time to set this up. Is it on YouTube, chat? Do you guys know? Chauncey Billups interview. Yes, cool.
I thought we had
It's a 2-minute interview, Eric.
Oh, okay.
So we probably didn't get asked what you was hoping you'd get asked.
Or they only played the good parts of it or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to play it through.
Okay.
I thought we had a good half, first half. I thought we set the tone, pretty good tone for ourselves. And came out really struggling in the third quarter, but the fourth quarter, obviously, just couldn't score. Other than Jeremy's three at that, it was 14 points. 18 assists at the half and end up with 26. That makes it tough. And some of that shot making, and some of that is we just kind of waited and let Ant and Jeremy isolate, in situations, and we don't want to play that way, I thought you got to give Brooklyn some credit. They were very physical. They tightened up the screws defensively in that fourth quarter. And I just always believe, you hear me say this all the time, the most aggressive team will always have favor, and they got very aggressive. And we didn't.
Seems like Seth Curry as well, really.
Oh, man, Seth he had a game. He had a game, and we've all seen him do it several times before, but he really did. He got going. He felt comfortable. They kept throwing it to him. A lot of times we didn't communicate on defense, and all of a sudden he finds himself open, But there was some miscommunications also where KD was open. Guys were open. He missed a few that, could have really hurt us. But, yeah, give them credit. They played well, man. They've been playing very well.
What are some of the biggest takeaways from this trip, especially with such a short window in Portland before we're back on the road? How do you kind of prepare the guys for another kind of stint on the road?
Yeah, we just can't look ahead, man. We can't look ahead. We have to look. We go 1-4 on this trip. We had an opportunity, to split, which would have been great, But we want to get back home, rest up tomorrow, and take care of business. We got a back-to-back coming right after that, So tough little stretch that we're in right now, but it is what it is. Every team goes through it.
That's the takeaway.
We just got to get back and take care of home court.
That's the takeaway. What is it? What is the take? That is not a takeaway from anything. What is that? What's the takeaway from this road trip? Oh, well, we gotta rest up and take care of home court next game. Could have split. Just non-answers. I can't be too mad at non-answers. It's just because that's the thing is you ask him a question like that, he can easily give a non-answer. You gotta ask him specific questions if you want specific insight. And I don't know if the interview was longer, they cut it short or what, but yeah, 2 minutes. Cool. Yay. Awesome.
And I am so freaking sick of hearing coaches say they were just more aggressive. I don't know what it was, but they just had the aggression and we didn't. It's like, well, what is wrong? Why do you keep freaking saying that? Like, what I'm saying at the beginning of games, why don't you come out aggressive? I don't feel like we were aggressive in the first half. We made some threes, some tough threes at the beginning of this game, and it kept us in it, despite I felt like we weren't playing super well. And our defense was absolutely horrendous. We gave up 31 in the first quarter, I believe. That's not playing good in the first half, Chauncey. I'm sick of hearing this stuff like, oh, we started off the game well. They just got aggressive and we just kind of backed down. It's like, no, well, figure out why that keeps happening, man. Like, figure it out. It's just so sickening to keep hearing that game after game. I said that at the beginning of the season. I didn't want to hear that crap this year. I'm sick of hearing it, and I'm sick of that being the excuse.
Or he knows what it is and just doesn't want to give media answers, man.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I mean, you got to ask him. That's why I think you got to ask him specific questions so that it's obvious if he's dodging them. Because, like, you ask him very open-ended, like, general questions like that, and you're going to get an open-ended general answer, even if it's the truth or not. So, I don't know. Like, that's the thing is, if he had other guys that he could turn to and he's not, other than, I guess, Jabari Walker, then I'd be more frustrated with the specific answers.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't even know what he really can do with what he has at the moment in terms of those guys just not showing up. Because if it was like 1 or 2 guys, okay, you could think about, well, it's like 7 out of the 9 guys. I mean...
But like I'm saying, I feel like our style of defense is very non-aggressive. It's very... it's like it's all kind of smoke and mirrors trying to get the defense to be confused on whether you're in zone or man and, like, what are you going to do? But, like, overall, it's not like a super aggressive, like, try to force turnovers, try to dictate the flow of some teams, like, how they're playing, try to take away an option from them. It's all reactionary defense.
Yeah.
And that's why we keep having this problem with aggression. And so that's what's frustrating. Whether he knows it or not, it's his schemes that are leading to this lack of aggression, I feel like, because we're not trapping pick and rolls. We've actually gone away from that. The last few games, we've played a lot more drop scheme than we played at any point in the Chauncey era. It just seems like it's getting less aggressive versus more aggressive, and I don't understand why. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the, like you said, the questions, and I don't like this attitude because, quite frankly, I mean, we played that Rodney Billups halftime thing a few streams ago, and then we played that, or we didn't play this interview, but after that same game, Chauncey was like, "Oh, I thought the effort was great, and we're doing everything right. We're just not making, like he had that attitude like we're playing, like everything's fine type of thing." And I just feel like that's way too common. Like, we win on Sunday and everyone's thinking like, oh, we're back to being good again. Like, we don't have to try hard. And it freaking drives me crazy because it goes back to the stupid San Antonio game where we played like absolute crap and we somehow win the game because San Antonio sucks. And then everyone's feeling themselves, and we can write articles about how good of a coach Chauncey is and how great Dame's defense is. And yes, I know Dame got hurt since then, but ever since that game, the effort has just been disgustingly bad, and it's driving me crazy. And then to hear him just say like we just didn't get aggressive, like it's just bugging me, man.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that, man. I don't know. Because he's the type of guy where he's going to hold guys accountable and this and that, and I'm not getting that vibe at the moment. It has to get better, and if it doesn't get better, like, how do you give up 52% from the field and 42% from 3, and it's okay? Like, did he talk about the defense in that game? Oh, I gave up some open shots, but you got to have him expand on that. I mean, I don't know. Because here's the thing with him, too, is last year you heard some people criticize him for publicly criticizing the players. And I don't know, maybe he's shying away from that. But
isn't that exactly what putting an address on it is?
Yeah, you would think. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to find reason in this because it just doesn't make sense.
Like you said, I mean, it could just be his team's worn out. He doesn't feel like he has many options because of the injuries. And so, like, he doesn't want to specifically call out people, which is fine. Like, I understand. I'm sick of hearing that we weren't aggressive when our whole schemes, both offensively and defensively, when you're running ISO or pick and roll and you're not, like, attacking the basket. We only had 40 points in the paint this game, only 6 fast break points, so we weren't pushing the tempo at all. So we're slowing the ball down, getting caught in half-court situations where we have no shooters on the floor and have no spacing and can't do anything on offense. And then he talks about how we only had 14 points. Well, that's because we weren't pushing the tempo. We weren't trying to move without the ball. We had lineups with disgusting shooting like that one I mentioned earlier. So like that leads to a lack of aggression, and then you're not pressuring at all. You're not doing any kind of pressuring on defense. Like we see how the last 2 Brandt's breakdowns, how like lazily we're going through screens, almost like we're expecting to switch every time. That's not aggression. That like aggression would be fighting through those picks. Even if you get burnt on them, at least you tried to get through them as fast as possible. And I just don't see that effort level. So then when he says like they just got more aggressive, I feel like it's his schemes that are leading to that lack of aggression.
Yep. Anyway, let's look at the standings and then we'll wrap this thing up. This is the Eastern Conference standings.
For the record, I'm not saying he's like a bad coach or anything. He's definitely still can get this turned around. And that's the frustrating part, is it feels like it is something that he could fix if he just does what he's been preaching.
Yeah. I mean, we're not aggressively defensive. We're not aggressive defensively this year. We were super aggressive last year. It has to be more than just switching things up. It has to be on strong defensive principles. There has to be a foundation to that. Yep. Right now, it feels like the foundation that I thought we were building earlier in the season is not there. But anyway, as we look at the Eastern Conference standings, Indiana's in 4th, half game out of 3rd, and Cleveland, right, last time we checked, was losing to Detroit. So, I mean, Indiana looks legitimate. We'll see them early in December at home. Atlanta's currently playing Miami right now. Pretty bunched up, 3 through 12 or so, separated by 4 games. Boston, Milwaukee been the top 2 teams over there in the East. And then let's take a look at the good old Western. Nope, that's the next 5 games. The Western Conference, Eric. Look how bunched up it still is. Golden State moves up to 10th. They're at 10-10. Dallas is actually 11th. Golden State's 11-10 now. We'll get this automated shortly. I've been saying that, but Golden State's 11-10, so they're hanging right around 9th, 10th. Dallas has struggled. It's been Luka and nothing else. He doesn't have enough help there in Dallas right now. They, coming off the Western Conference Finals, have just not been good. LA's been winning some games. They're now tied for 12th with OKC. OKC is better in terms of win percentage. LA is a team we'll see soon. Actually, the next 2 games are against LA. We'll look at that in a second. But we're still in 6th, Eric. We're tied for 5th. We're a half game behind 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So the sky is not falling yet.
It'd be nice to be up there in 3rd, though, if we win this game.
I mean, it'd be nice to be up there in 1st. You know, we've lost some games we should have won. I mean, if we were consistently playing like we were earlier in the year, I feel like we'd be 15-5 right now. You know, we'd be in 1st. But yeah, just as long as we stay on the left side of this column, I'm chilling, you know. So we'll have a potential to make a run later in the season. Just gotta clean up some of the crap that we talked about in this post-game show. Here are the next 5 games. Both LA teams, the Clippers at home, then the Lakers on the road. Then 2 days rest. Then we play Utah on the road, who have been struggling lately. And then Indiana at home, second half of back-to-back. Indiana's been solid. Then 3 days rest. Then Denver. What is your hope for this team in terms of the record over the next 5 games?
I mean, it's tough not knowing if we'll get players back or not. I think at this point you're very happy if they go 3-2. Just
that's
try not to be much worse than that.
Because the Clippers won't have PG or Kennard, might not have Kawhi. I don't know what his status is, but and then the Lakers are, they've been playing better, but they're still not a good team. You definitely got to split at least, but I think both those games are winnable. And then you definitely want to split between Utah and Indiana, but I think both those games are winnable. Indiana at home, Utah after a couple days rest. They haven't been playing as well. And then 3 days rest, and then Denver comes in. So 2-3, I think, is very possible. That would put us at 13-12. But 3-2 would put us at 14-11. I'd feel pretty good about that, especially considering the Blazers have had like the second hardest strength of schedule, and they've been severely injured all season long.
Yep.
So
hopefully see Gary Payton at some point at the end of this.
So what is his status? When is?
I think Friday is his 2 weeks. I think they said they were going to reevaluate in 2 weeks. So yeah. I think it's then. But as far as I know, it's just they're not expecting any sort of timeline or anything. They're just going to wait until he's ready. It's not something that anyone knows about.
So when is the earliest you think we could see him?
Well, probably that December 8th game that you've been targeting for Dame. But yeah, I just have no idea.
Put him against Jokic. Let's go. I'm just kidding. Put him against Jamal Murray, and yeah, I don't know. It'd just be fun to talk about like potentially having that option to put against some of these stars that have routinely killed us this season.
We need to put him against Mr. Efficient Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, he's been crazy efficient. Grant can handle that challenge. That's his old power forward starting spot that Gordon's in. So, that's the type of guy I like Grant guarding. Because if Aaron Gordon's going to run pick and rolls, I think you live with that. And you just go under screens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cool. Grant can go under screens. The problem is when he has to go over, but that's the thing. When you guard guards that are good shooters and run pick and rolls, you have to go over screens. You can't go under and give Kyrie Irving a wide open three, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the problem with Grant against guys like that. Against Aaron Gordon, that's actually a good matchup in our favor, I think. I think that's the perfect type of player to put Jeremy Grant up against. If you have Gary Payton II as well, alongside Josh Hart to give Jamal Murray fits, and okay, cool. You just, gotta guard Michael Porter Jr. somehow. That's kind of the tough matchup there. Anyway, any final words for this post-game show?
Thanks, everyone, for joining us on a Sunday. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And we have a show tomorrow afternoon on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Live, if you're interested in checking that out. We'll pick the games tomorrow and then talk a little bit more about the road trip and the upcoming back-to-back with the LA teams. And, hopefully we'll get some news at some point about the injuries.
Yep. Check out the link in the description box below for Blazers Uprise Live. Check out the link for our Discord as well. And, should have a mailbag out tomorrow. I'll post a link to the thread because I don't know if the thread was, showing up properly in our Discord. We're doing mailbag questions through Discord now. So, I don't know. I don't know if it was showing up right. But, let me share the link to that. We got 5 questions on there. That's pretty good. With 15 to 20, that's a good amount. Can I not share the link to this? Oh, I wanted to share the link to this. I'll tweet it out again. So follow us on Twitter at BlazersUpriseYT. Join our Discord. You can find the mailbag question there if you go to announcements and then mailbag questions. It's under it. And then we'll drop a mailbag tomorrow or Tuesday. That's the plan right now. And with that being said, that's a wrap for this postgame show. The Blazers lose, concluding their 4-game Eastern Conference road trip, 111-97 against the Brooklyn Nets. They are now 11-9 as we get closer to the month of December. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Sunday because it's still pretty early. Gotta love these early games, man. Do you like these early games? How do you feel?
I don't mind them every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while. Not too much though, but got some time to forget this freaking loss Hopefully, you guys have a good rest of your day. We're out of here. This has been the Blazers Uprise postgame show presented by Bet Online. Use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for 50% rewards. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.